You may have wondered what this message is going to be. Fly high. It's not drugs. Has a much different meaning. We need at times just to take a moment for our busy days to think about our daily life, our weekly life, our monthly life, our yearly life, and as many of those as we have left. Just this. Fair's just about over. It's breaking down this morning, but I guess they have a demolition derby or something to do yet today. What a place to people watch. And I know you've all been there, and I know you know what I'm talking about. It's very interesting. It gives you insight into what the world is today. And sometimes that's not real good. So I come up with a plan. I watch the animals, big and small. They don't get these crazy outfits on, or I don't have to say, I wonder if their mother knew what they were wearing when they left the house. I'm very taken with all the big animals, especially those draft horses. But yet I think of all the small animals, like the little dwarf bunnies and the guinea pigs, and then my mind goes to the chickens. Those poor chickens. They never draw a crowd. They're in a small, small cage. And it's hot in that barn. Of course, it was kind of hot everywhere this year, but not as hot as other years. At least at home, they can walk around, even if their heads are toward the ground. Did you ever wonder what that chicken's thinking as he just walks around? How would you like your life to only see the ground? Now, there's a good part to looking at the ground for them too, because they're always looking for food. But what would happen if they were approached by someone who said, chickens, if you follow me, I'll turn you into eagles. Not bad right off the bat. But would they think of everything they would have to leave behind? They would have to leave their chicken way of life behind. They would have to leave their home behind. They've been very content with walking around with their heads down and looking at the ground. So, what would being an eagle really do for them? They could fly high, and they could see, and they could do ever so much more. This is time for a non-politically paid message. FYI. Eagles are mentioned in the Bible more than any other bird of prey. They are impressive for their size, their strength, their speed, and their soaring abilities. I think that must have got them to be our national bird. But they were on a long flight all the way from walking with Christ till now. If you were in their position, what would you do? Would you be happy with continuing your chicken way of life? Or would you want to get up with the big, important birds that everyone sees? Well, where's she going with this? Let's change those who are involved. Brothers Peter and Andrew, and James and John, they were all fishermen. Matthew, who was also known as Levi, was a tax collector. The others were Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James, Simon, and Judas. They all had homelands. They all had families. They all had a way of making a living. Before following Jesus, they didn't have any plans on big changes. They weren't about to just leave their families and everything else behind. But their life changed when Jesus said, "If anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." What a decision to have to make. But they did. They went with Jesus. Jesus told them, "If you obey my teachings, you are my disciples or my apostles." Reading on in the Bible, Matthew presented Jesus as a great teacher. He tells them, however, that no pupil is greater than his teacher. You think he was giving them a lesson in humble? Sometimes we need lessons in humble. Jesus taught his disciples using parables. And over the years, ministers have talked about parables. Bible studies have talked about the parables. And at times they're a little hard to understand. So here are these men that have been following him, all of a sudden needing to understand their teacher's lesson. And when Jesus was done, when he felt that they understood his teaching, he sent them out into the world to not only preach, but to heal. Can you imagine everything that must have been going through their minds? They had seen Jesus heal. He had healed so many in such different circumstances. And now he was asking them to also go out and heal. He must have been confident. He must have thought the teacher knew what he was doing. And they had been taught right. While they're on this high of being, "You are my disciples, you may go out and preach, you may go out and heal," but he also says, "You may be rejected, you may be persecuted, but you can depend on God's guidance and protection." what would your decision have been? Go or stay? What if someone would walk into church right now and put out an offer that would seem almost too good to be true? But it would change our way of lives. To the majority of us, I guess Brian excluded, we would have to consider us. We would have to consider our stiff bodies, and that's just getting out of bed. And I love Wellington for this, and it's more noted among the men than the women. Meeting our regulars for coffee, corny jokes, and gossip at McDonald's. When I was running squad early in the morning, we would go and get some coffee and something to keep us going till lunch. And you always saw the same tables with the same older gentlemen. Flannel shirts, bibbed overalls. They all had opinions, and they liked to be loud about those opinions. Would we want to give that up? Doling out our daily meds from those little containers. You know, they've got 7 days, Sunday through Saturday, and every week they need filled, and every day we open them up, we take out our pills, and we make sure that we take them so that our stiff bodies can move better. And then this is the difficult one, and this is usually up to the women. We've got to plan supper around our favorite TV show. Men are known to like game shows. So while we're out in that kitchen stirring away, they're in there going, oh no, too high, too low. Oh my gosh, he got it. Oh, he's gonna strangle that poor guy. They're so excited, they got him around the neck. But our life's not always so beautiful. We live in a country where old age is promoted as the golden years. I'm not so sure about that, but we still are expected to bear fruit. So we can't use the excuse of, I'm too old, I hurt too much, I've got too many pills to take. I spent all week at the fair and I'm just too tired to get up for church this morning. Now couple that with, what would I do? Prayers and praise, worship and attendance, support, volunteering, reading the word, and sharing it with others. We can still do that. We may not be able to travel by foot to other areas of the country, but we're here and we can decide to be a modern day disciple. All we need to do is claim the works of God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. There's been a couple verses out of the Bible that I thought really spoke a lot, because they started out, when I am old and gray. And we have a lot of gray in this room. God, do not abandon me. Then I will proclaim your power to another generation. We will use your strength to witness to all that come after us. Can we fly high? Can we do that in Wellington and Rochester and Brighton with these old decrepit bodies and gray hair and usually special diets of food? So taking that into account, it's Jesus appeared today and said, will you follow me? Would you fly high like an eagle? If not, how about the wings of a dove? Jesus needs us. Our church needs us. Isaiah 40:29. Watch, I'll drop the mic in. Sorry about that. Isaiah 29. Through 31. He strengthened those who are weak and tired, even those who are young grow weak. Young men can fall exhausted, but those who trust in the Lord for help will find their strength renewed. They will rise on the wings like eagles. They will run and not get weary. They will walk and not grow weak. So is it going to be wings of an eagle? Is it going to be wings of a dove? Does it matter? This mic is a lethal weapon. Does it matter how high we fly? No. Does it matter if we're willing to share just one little idea or sentence in a day or a week? Something that lets the person know that not only you care, but that God cares. Jesus cares. And you know what? If that doesn't work, that Holy Spirit just might get them whether they like it or not. Just remember, will you fly high on the wings of an eagle? If not, how about the wings of a dove? Jesus needs us. Our church needs us. Eagle or dove. May God bless these words